Like Ramona? Is that her name?
Where am I?
Let's have a look.
I'm Tim.
I'm Simone. Nice to meet you.
I'm moderating. Yes.
Ah, ja, natürlich. Das.
So,
Hi, I'm Simona.
Hello, Simona. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Very good.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you too.
Sharing a table.
Hello.
and you're talking about digital innovation for youth.
Yeah, right at the
Climate
end.
action coordination.
That's right.
I'll mostly let everyone introduce themselves.
Perfect. Yes.
Prime people.
Okay.
Bist du Deutsch, ja?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Von Bonn, Berlin,
What's happening?
Zurich.
Everything all right?
Schweizer,
I
ja.
think so. Did Eileen make it?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Nein, ich bin vorne. Ich bin nach vorne.
Everything fine. We don't have a presentation.
So, du bist, ja, Luisa? Hier?
Ja.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Tim.
Three redheads all together.
I'm moderating.
I love it. How are you?
Simona.
Hi,
Nice to meet
Simona. It's very funny. Hello.
Okay. So it's
Okay.
half. Let's start.
Teresa, yeah, she's called Teresa.
That's very funny.
That is hilarious. I mean, I love the fact that
No, I haven't met that one yet.
I mean, we are from the special outer space, community.
it's time we were
Yes.
Toll. Is this already on?
on the
Exactly.
global stage.
Let's see.
Yes. Cheers.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's our pleasure to welcome you to this amazing COP25 side event here in Madrid for the Young and Future Generations Day, where we are celebrating all of the contributions and actions of young people to global climate action, delivering the Paris Agreement, and moving forward the direction we all need to go in. I'm Timothy Damon from the United States, founder and president of the Global Youth Development Institute. I'll be moderating today, and we have an amazing panel for all of you. We're also affiliated with ECOS, which is the Education, Communication, and Outreach Stakeholders Group, of which IAAI is a founding member, and also our generous host for this press conference. So without further ado, I will be heading into Miroslav Polzer, founder of IAAI.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Tim, for chairing this press conference. My name is Marcel Paulson, and I wish everybody a wonderful Young and Future Generations Day here at COP25. So my organization, the host of today's press conference, is IAI. It's the International Association for the Advancement of Innovative Approaches to Global Challenges. We are looking how can we improve the way the global community is working, how can we get everybody engaged. And in this effort to really mastering this global climate crisis that we are in, we believe very much in the transformative power of youth. It's really young people with their creativity, with their social energy, entrepreneurial will and spirit can really significantly contribute to getting the world on a sustainable track for a climate-safe future. And we have three pillars in our work. On the one hand, we say there's a need to have a cultural shift. We need to work in education, behavior change, and we will hear from Miklos about our Global Challenges Youth Music Contest initiative. And we have the technological pillar where we say that in order to get people engaged, we need to have the systems in place to provide incentives. And to provide incentives, we need the data-based evidence of the impact of the individual climate action. And for this, we need tools, and we need to harness the potentials of technological innovation, and here we see very high potentials in blockchain technology, and we are also co-founders of the Climate Chain Coalition, and happy to have Tom Baumann, the co-chair of the coalition, with us. We have every morning here in meeting room 22, 10 till 11 o'clock, the morning meetings of the digital innovation community. And the third pillar of our work is organizational innovation. We have set up the multi-stakeholder partnership as a new institutional framework where international organizations, public authorities from the national, subnational, city level can work together with youth organizations, with schools, with entrepreneurs, and really to get everybody together in this effort to empower youth for climate action and to give young people the rewards and incentives and technology, funding, whatever is needed that this endeavor can work. And we are happy to have today our delegation members and our partners to tell you a little bit more about how this work looks like in concrete. And if you would like to learn more about our work, please look up on the internet the hashtag GLOCHA, G-L-O-C-H-A, and there you will find more detailed information. And with this, I give back to Tim.
Thank you, Miro. And before jumping to our next speaker, just to really drive home the point of why everything Miro's just described is so important, young people are already doing as much as they can around the world to be drivers of climate change action, but they face many barriers in terms of lacking financial resources, institutional resources, and other forms of support. And that's why this multi-stakeholder engagement platform is so crucial, the efforts to mobilize more resources to support youth climate action. And that's really the best investment that we can be making into solving the climate crisis. And that also is the work of the Global Youth Development Institute. So in that context, I'm very happy to pass over to Eileen, who is also the director for the GLOCHA Foundation New York. And how are you harnessing the creativity of young people for this challenge?
Thank you, Tim. We are launching a decentralized autonomous organization through climatehacks.org. ClimateHacks.org elevates localized global actions, global climate actions. Primarily, they are led by youth, funny as that may be. We have coral restoration, energy co-ops in Puerto Rico, urban farming in Medellin, biochar in Africa. So some of the early climate hacks teamwork is led by youth. One in particular, Generation Next, is an outgrowth of the Youth Climate Compact, which is a result of hundreds of consultations over 8 months earlier this year. It was agreed upon at the Civil Society Forum in Salt Lake City in August and presented as a youth climate action at the summit in the UN in September. And Ali Mustafa is the leader of a climate hack specifically with 26 cities around the world to implement the 25 actions listed in the Youth Climate Compact. So it's very exciting. We are going to be using blockchain to help measure, report, and verify on the specific carbon metrics from all these activities, these climate actions. And it's very exciting. So I'll pass it back to you, Tim, but this is marrying digital technology with very specific localized actions from teamwork around the world, often initiated and led by youth. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Eileen. And the climate hacks are really a great example as well of how you engage people who aren't able to come to the conferences into what's going on here. And that's really critical to what we're doing. Also critical to what we're doing is really reaching and motivating people. And the technical aspects are certainly not the best way to go about that, but music is. So we're very pleased to hear next from Miklos, who's going to tell us about the Global Challenges Youth Music Contest.
So my name is Miklos Vespremi, and I was 6 when I entered my first international piano competition. Unfortunately, I faced stiff competition, so I didn't win, but I was gripped by the competitive spirit, and not only myself, but communities around me, my family and friends, all cheered me on as I went on the journey to become a professional pianist. It was these many competitions that I did that fired my days and weeks and years in the practice room. So today, I'm a PhD candidate in music theory at Yale University, but I have recently found a much greater challenge to advocate for the climate crisis. I'm very honored to be part of the delegation of the International Association for the Advancement of Innovative Approaches to Global Challenges. And one of our initiatives is the Earth Music Awards. Now, this is a global music competition that awards prizes to climate activist songs. We will soon be in our third installment of it, but at the last one that was held in 2015, we awarded a prize to Schutiskat, who's a Native American, Spanish and English-speaking boy. He was 15 at the time. Since then, he went on to become a plaintiff in the landmark legal case Juliana versus United States. He published a book. He founded an NGO that advocates for the individual responsibility of each one of us toward the global climate change crisis. And he continues to write awesome music. So I would like to play a little short clip of one of the recent songs that he's written that kind of reinforces this message.
Yeah, time of my day, I don't got much of it, watch what you say. I'ma go dumb with the beat all the way, up in the volume, I'm in the cabin for all of you. I'm crossing borders for all of my homies who can't. Shout out me gente who work in the land. I'ma collect all the checks in the bands, like take it back, take it back, take it back, take it back. Ooh, body diversity, where I counting bodies. I'm from the roof from the front to the back. My shit is hotter than 2 degrees Celsius, warm as the planet, that's facts. And I've been consulting my mama, like how we go count up these commas and give it back to all my people. Come on, I'm sick of adults and the ego. And watch how the youth finna lead the way. Our president ain't leading anyway. They asking me why I rap. I had some shit that I had to say. Say what you mean. I'm waiting for no one. I'm making my mark. Let's talk on the scene. Watch how you talking to me. Boy, everyone talks. Say what you mean. I'm waiting for no one. I'm making my mark. Let's talk on the scene. Watch how you talking to me. Take it back, take it back, take it back. I'm taking the pound on the throne, taking everything. I'll take it from here. That's some money in it.
So we are very proud to have supported this exceptional young musician, but let us not forget all the hundreds of other musicians that competed to be part of this competition and inspired the communities around them to reinforce the message of the climate crisis that we're all facing. It is truly an innovative approach to a global challenge, which is what we stand for. Thank you.
Thank you, Miklos. And of course, once young people are inspired by music to take action, they need a pathway to do so. And innovation is a way to do that. So we have next to hear from Louise, leader of the Climate Kick Young Innovators program. So how are you helping young people to take those next steps?
Hi there. So first of all, let me introduce what Climate Kick is doing. So Climate Kick is Europe's largest community of partners to combat climate change through innovation. We are an orchestrator for an innovation ecosystem that connects supply and demand in really catalyzing transformational change needed on our path to a circular net zero carbon economy and society. We focus on four overarching systems. One is finance, land use, cities, industry, and water. And we're using a portfolio approach of really deliberately chosen innovations and experiments across different levers of change. Technology, policy, but also citizen engagement and behavior change. We recognize that the coming decade will be crucial in preparing future generations and teens to lead us to a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient society. And we know that today's children and teens will be the group in society that's most affected by climate change by 2030. And every child that's born in Europe today will need to lead a carbon-neutral life by the time it leaves school. So Young Innovators is a program that empowers youth with the skills, capabilities, and networks to trigger climate innovation towards whole systems transformation. We introduce systems thinking and a challenge-based approach and participatory methods to the school. Our ambition is quite strong and high. So by 2030, we want to transform, or we want to reach out to more than 10% of Europe's youth. That's 3 million young people in Europe and across the globe. We are working with partners across Europe and across the globe, learning designers, organizations that focus or that already engaged in sustainability education. And I can only invite you to join this movement, to work with cities, companies across the world and this challenge-based approach.
Thank you, Louise. And continuing on, there's also the need for digital innovation to support youth climate action. And for this, we have Simona from the Bounties Network.
Hi, everyone. So I'm the co-founder of a blockchain project called the Bounties Network. We are live on the Ethereum blockchain, and we have been using incentives as a means of stimulating action and positive climate action for the past 18 months. The idea is to motivate and empower young people to start contributing to all of the goals that their governments and their regions are committing to, by empowering them and giving them access to the resources needed to create projects, to create initiatives, to start movements within their own communities. Because I think this is the time, and certainly from my part, blockchain empowers this tremendously. It is the time for those individuals and communities to start, contributing, to start creating their own solutions that will get us all to the goals that we, hopefully all adhere to, because the time for action is indeed now. An example of a project that we did in the Philippines was an incentivized cleanup where we dispersed funds via cryptocurrency, so ETH, which is the token of the Ethereum network, to a community of fishermen that included a lot of young people keen to make a difference, keen to tap into those global resources that would come into local communities and benefit them, so them, their communities, and so on. We've also done the same model in Tanzania, and I would love to see in 2020 this spread to almost, looking at let's clean more, let's do more in more countries. And it is the youth that will help us do that. I firmly believe that. And I know, based on all of the movements with Extinction Rebellion and all of that, it is that impassioned cry of youth that action must happen now.
Thank you, Simona. Definitely important to provide those incentives and the community-based aspect as well. Next, we are very happy to have Hank Rogers from the Blue Planet Foundation. And I know you've got exciting, inspiring work from Hawaii to tell us about, and also how we engage more of the key players into all this work.
Yes, so we have a foundation in Hawaii called the Blue Planet Foundation. Actually, to get the population of Hawaii who at first really didn't understand or care about renewable energy or climate change. We don't have the same effects in Hawaii that we do have in other places. To get them on board, we've got a big educational outreach program. We got elementary school kids to exchange 300,000 light bulbs. And then when they hand out the light bulb, they exchange it for the incandescent light bulb. And they have to explain to the people in the house why the exchange is happening. So the people in the house save money. There's a conversation between a child and an adult about climate change. And so this is a very successful thing that we did in Hawaii. We also help people on the outer islands who have energy hog refrigerators. And what we did is we brought them at cost energy saver refrigerators. And again, these people save, in the first year of using the energy saver refrigerator, they already make the money back from having the new refrigerator. Our biggest accomplishment in Hawaii was we got Hawaii to pass a mandate of 100% renewable energy for electricity by 2045. And after we did that, California copied us. Yeah. And so now they have a mandate for 100% by 2045. The date came from negotiation. We asked for 2040, and the electric company fighting us on the other side asked for 2050, and we negotiated and settled on 2045. We asked California, why did you guys pick 2045? And they said to us, you guys picked 2045. Isn't that the date? I said, no, it's not the date. But it turns out to be a real good date because it's the 100th anniversary of the United Nations. And so I'd like to see the rest of the planet have a mandate of 100% renewable energy by 2045. Why not? And why stop there? So I've got a new... okay, sorry. I'm out of time.
Thank you, Hank. And moving very quickly then into our final panelist, Nick Nuttall. He's more than a communications expert. He's very proficient in that area, and now bringing that expertise to Earth Day Network. Previously, he had moderated me on a panel, but give us your insights, please.
Yeah, so I realize we're running short, but I wanted to ask you what you're doing on April 22nd in 2020. I don't know if you've got any plans, but I have some plans for you, because that is the 50th anniversary of the very first Environment Day, Earth Day. In 1970, something like 20 million plus young people came out onto the streets, onto the university campuses in the United States and said they demand and wanted change. And the then president was a man called President Nixon. You may not know who he is, but he didn't really believe in the environment. But when he saw all these youth out on the streets in the United States, soon you got the Environmental Protection Agency, you got the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Acts, all kinds of legislation, things really change. Earth Day, the 50th anniversary of Earth Day next year on the 22nd of April, needs to be a truly global mobilization of the public. 2020 is the super year. This is the year when, if we don't actually act on climate change and a whole host of other interrelated topics, we can start kissing goodbye to some of the goals and some of the targets of the Paris Agreement, 1.5 degrees centigrade being just one of them. So I'd ask you to maybe think about what you're doing on April 22nd. We're working quite closely with Fridays for Future in the United States, but also in other parts of the world, youth movements in Brazil, in India, in the Philippines, wherever you are based, we'd like you to join in, because this needs to be a clear message to the leaders that on this day, Earth Day, the 22nd of April, we want you to act by the time the governments meet in Glasgow in November 2020. So if you need any more information, go to the Earth Day Network website, and I'll be here for a few more minutes afterwards, and I'm more than happy to chat. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. I've noted that in my calendar. I hope everyone else has as well. So we do have just a very few minutes left. If there's one question that we can take from the audience. Anyone? Yes. Yep, there's a microphone coming to you.
So, hi, and thank you very much. My name is Malia Menard Elder. I'm from the American University of Paris, and I'm on my school's sustainability board. And my question for you is really, do you have any advice, specific strategies, or just ideas on that I could bring back with me to my school?
I do. So has your university divested from fossil fuels in any of their financial pots of money that they have?
Hoping to work on right now. We're trying to carbon offset all our cultural trips, as well as implementing some kind of functional method where every incoming student would also pay a small fee to plant at least 5 trees to carbon offset their yearly carbon intake. So we have a lot of plans going on, but we still have a lot of work to do, and we are facing some kind of, I guess, struggle with the overall structure of our school.
Well, you know, there's a whole network of green campus networks. There was a big declaration just this year by universities in Asia, Europe, and North America on greening their campuses. I mean, you just Google it. I'm sure you know who they are anyway. I bet they're the best people placed to do it.
And I can connect you with Generation Next, which is the Youth Climate Compact youth groups around that Compact 25 targets. Thank you.
That would be great.
Also
Thank you.
potentially looking at incentives to loop in the students, but also the teacher, like the body of the university, and potentially gaining some sort of incentive for the school to become fully green or something to that effect. All of these are easily implementable, just need to map out what it is that we want them to do.
Perhaps, I mean, schools have awards for things like sport or best grades. Have an award for someone that philosophizes about the climate or has some sort of important initiative, some material initiative to improve the state of the campus or something. But we need to make this something that is worth an award.
This teamwork, if it's constructed and undertaken in a collaborative community, that's the most important thing to do, regardless of all the specifics. It's building that teamwork in community, because that's what helps us prepare for emergencies, which we're in. We're in a climate emergency.
Let's get back to more.
And
So can I just get back to one point, though? I mean, you've got Yale University right now. The students are fighting to get the university to divest from fossil fuels, right? You've got many universities in the US and in Europe that have already done it. And I don't see why you couldn't launch that campaign and have it delivered by Earth Day 2020 on the 22nd of April. Thank you.
Yeah, and join up with other universities. I mean, there are several American universities all over the world, so join forces with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in Hawaii, at the University of Hawaii, they have an initiative where students can get together and they choose a building and they try to make the building more sustainable. And then by the energy savings, they can get some money from the energy savings. And so it's a big competition between, at the end of the day, between different buildings and different groups of students. And then the university benefits, the students benefit, everybody benefits.
Along with that, and we'll close out in a moment, but just to add that in my own student days, we pushed on our college, Dickinson College, to have their climate action plan, and they will actually now be carbon neutral as a campus by next year. And there's many other colleges and universities in the US and elsewhere that are part of that. So make sure you're pushing on that aspect as well, and trying to mainstream sustainability across the entire curriculum. And please also come connect with ECOS. That's a lot of other folks who are addressing those same questions. And that really was an excellent question to end out the day on, because here celebrating Young and Future Generations Day, and with IAAI having given us this amazing press conference space, we see that the youth and students are driving the innovation, the change that we need to see in the world. And we have all of these amazing intergenerational partners who are in their own ways contributing, and we all can contribute to young people having more of these opportunities and being able to scale up these things that they're doing. You know, young people are not the leaders of tomorrow or even the leaders of today, but they're leaders of now, and they need support for that leadership now. And on that note, we are going to end in time for the following press conference, but please get our contact details and look forward to seeing you around. And thank you for everyone who is tuning in as well online. Thank you.
Thank you.
Super spannend, was ihr macht.
Thanks for having joined us.